Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Horror Room. Today, we're doing another indie horror spotlight. I have coming all the way from Germany, a German horror filmmaker. He is the founder of White Lodge Movies as well as AE Film Arts. I have Mr. Tim X Ravenstone. Tim, how you doing, my friend?
Hey there, I'm fine, thank you. Hope you're too.
Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. And you have a new movie coming out, Blutkreis Capital 2. So tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, it's Blood Cycle in English. Chapter 2 is my second feature movie. I'm working on it for 5 years or 6 years or something, I guess. And yeah, it's a long way, but it will be my biggest movie ever, my longest movie ever, I guess, and my how do you say, my magnus opum, my the biggest one I ever made before. But
Yes.
it's a lot of work.
Awesome. So this is a sequel, and it's going to be following the first one. So what's the story? So where's it going to take place?
The stuff is, the first one was made very improvised, and it was only a short movie, about 50 minutes. And we did this within 1 or 2 years. Some weekends we felt boring and say, okay, let's shoot something. And it was never to be a plan to release it or even make a real short movie out of it. And in the end, it became a cool little short movie, and people wanted to see it. It was the goriest one I ever made. Many blood, because the blood cycle, as the title says, needed that. And after it, I was like, okay, there's much more to the story and the whole feeling and atmosphere of the film. So the first one is about a guy who wants to. It sounds so cheesy, but you know the old exploitation movies like Ilsa?
I said cheesy is good. Yes.
The old exploitation stuff and Nazi exploitation stuff and all that cheesy stuff from the 70s and 80s. And it's about a guy who wants to summon demons from the Third Reich. And when he tries that, it's a little bit of the Army of Darkness thing. The demons from the past not coming into his life, but he falls back in medieval times. And then he's within the blood cycle, so that means he can only be reborn as an old man. And whenever he lives long enough, he becomes, how do you say, revenant, something like a zombie. Okay. But in a little bit more mythological way, a little bit more like we had influences from Lovecraft and stuff like that. A little bit deeper. We tried that, and it was pretty stupid and a mixture of the old exploitation movies together with the German underground gore stuff. And after that, I said, okay, I liked the beginning of it, that someone from our modern times coming back to medieval times, but we need another story. Nothing about Nazi demons. What the fuck? That's I know it's a topic still with things like how were the titles? Iron Sky and the one with the zombies in the snow. You know that. It's pretty well known. There are two parts. Let me think. Dead Snow was the title. Yes. And this is something, it was just a cheesy little idea, but not for the second part. So in the second part, he's much deeper within this curse, and we find out why does that happen, what's happening, and how we can break out of this curse. Never be again an old man or a revenant. And it's more about isolation and feeling lonely in a foreign world where nobody knows him and he don't know where he is or when exactly, and everything's it's a little bit more how do you say, uh, like more like a dark fairy tale, not horror or not real horror, and especially no gore and stuff, no splatter anymore. I wanted to do it more a strange fantasy film. That was the intention. Well, that is the intention. The movie is still not finished. It's the shootings are finished, long finished, and I'm cutting right now with two guys from America who are doing the soundtrack for the movie, and that just takes time. They are scoring the whole movie, every scene with a score, especially for that scene, and it's taking time.
I do have a question. I talked to a lot of filmmakers in United States and also other countries, and COVID was something tough to work around when it came to filming movies. Did you run into the same thing in Germany?
We had the same situation, I guess. Everything stuff with lockdowns and you can't meet anybody else and blah blah. For me personally, I always had, not always, with Whitewatch movies, we were a bigger team. We were 3 people in Whitewatch movies, and our first feature film had 6 or 7 people acting in front of the camera and people behind it and around the set and stuff. But that's many years ago, around 2010, 2011, with I Filmkunst. I don't have a fixed team. It's just me, and from every movie to the next movie, other people who are involved, usually in the usual thing, it's friends and stuff. And I'm often doing stuff with only, let's say, one character, and we are working some scenes together. And in Blutkreis 2, Blood Cycle 2, there are only 3 real actors and little parts around, so we didn't have many problems because it was very small, very limited in its organization and stuff. And I'm doing the most of it alone or with 1 or 2 other people, so it was not a big problem for me.
Okay. Now, from what I've known about German horror movies, the more gore, the better. And actually, German horror movies put American horror movies to shame when it comes to the amount of gore and intensity. As a horror filmmaker, director, is it hard not to fall into the German horror stereotype and to swerve and try to do something a little more different or creative in horror? And when you do that, is there kind of a backlash?
What does backlash mean? I'm sorry, I don't know the word.
Do people say, so when you try to do something different than a normal German horror movie, do people criticize, or do people say, I don't like?
For sure, definitely. It's totally, it's people in Germany, in the German horror scene, most of them, and then from those who I know, and then I would say I know many of them. Most of them are pretty strong horrors. It's always about how much blood, how many gore effects, does it splatter enough, and blah blah blah. So yeah, if you're doing movies who are not based in the first row about blood and gore and splatter, it's a little bit more difficult to find people who are interested. It's, I guess, it's still the reason why Blood Cycle 1 was my best sold movie, because everyone read the word blood. Oh my god, blood! I need it. It's another German gore movie and that. And yeah, it has some gore scenes, but it's not the main thing in the movie. And but people like it. They don't care about a story or anything if there's enough blood. And I personally, I'm watching all these German war movies,
Mhm.
still most of it, and I really like it. But I think it's pretty sad and boring that they are always doing the same thing again and again, and the creativity is pretty limited, because it's always okay. Let's do an effect that nobody has ever done before. But I think a movie for me has so much more than just special effects. It's in the first thing, it's a good story.
Mhm.
For me, my personal, really private eye film arts thing is locations. I really love to find good locations. It's all about locations. In my movies, I want that everything is looking special or dreamlike or something you only see in movies, not the daily stuff. I mean, they are doing these splatter movies in forests, for example.
Yeah.
They are just going outside. Okay, there are three trees, and no people here. Here, I will kill my victim with a chainsaw. And I think we have so beautiful forests out there. Even in Germany, we are not America or Canada or something, but there are lakes here too. There are mountains here too. We have caves and I don't know, so many things to explore. And so I'm days after days after days just walking through various forests in Germany and searching for locations because I see something and think, oh my god, it's whatever, a huge cave in the middle of the nowhere.
Mhm.
That's something I want to see on the big screen, and not the most boring trees that everyone has in front of his house. And I mean,
But even like American horror had its point where it had a great story mixed in with this horror. But American horror is slowly going the direction of German horror, where it's all about blood, 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 effects,
mm,
effects, 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 and it goes away from the story. And I get that, especially in the states, that's something new. It's something that really has been touched since the '80s. So there's a whole new generation who has never experienced that blood, 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 gore, 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 gore.
mm,
But I mean, there was a good period in the '90s, even in the early 2000s, where
oh yeah,
horror also had a great story, and that's something that the I don't know if you watch Korean horror movies. Korean horror movies are knocking it out of the park because they're mixing in that story, that emotional element, and character development as well as the horror.
yeah. That's a one big point. Especially the 90s. For me, there were so many little films, but with interesting stories, nice settings. Um, that's very how to say, with much atmosphere,
Mhm.
atmospheric. What's it say? Atmospheric. What else? Um, you get the thing with a nice mood in it. But
Yeah.
also, but that's okay. And people are always like, let's say the old Italian filmmakers, Lucio Fulci, Dario Argento. Yeah, they have much splatter, gore, blah, but they always had great visuals. And that's
Mhm.
something people forget. They just forget that Fulci has made several movies that are really spooky and scary with nice locations, with old houses and basements and whatever. They are always like, oh, he's the master of gore. And I'm like, yeah, but horror is a big part of his films and people just forget it. and they want to worship something and make it the same, but forget that there's so much more than just special effects.
And horror is broken down to. I have friends and family who are outside of horror. I mean, who are not horror fans, so they look at it from the outside. But horror is broken down into different. There's different subcategories of horror. So like, not everything in horror is splasher, heads flying off.
Mhm.
A lot of it is the psychological, the found footage, the even like a we talked beforehand. We're both Halloween fans. If you look at the original John Carpenter Halloween, there wasn't a whole lot of blood.
No more,
There was no blood at
no
all,
more.
to be honest.
Yep, and
And,
that's the
and
point.
it's one of the scariest movies ever made.
Totally. That's especially, and let's think. I just had something in mind. The 90s. Damn it, I forgot. Whatever.
We'll come
Continue.
back to it.
Sorry.
So,
Yeah.
okay, so as a German filmmaker, by the way, shout out to Germany. I get a lot of viewers, so I can see where my viewers are coming from. I got a lot of viewers, subscribers from Germany. So Germany, awesome, you guys rock. Thanks for watching. Um, but as a German filmmaker, do you get any inspiration from? Have you gotten any inspiration from any American filmmakers?
If I have to name my favorite filmmaker, it would it would be David Lynch. So I guess he's American. That's okay. Um, the old classic ones, of course, George A. Romero, and oh, I'm always forgetting names in interviews. Really, I have so many filmmakers I really like, but I always forgetting. Darren Aronofsky.
Great.
Let's think. America.
You like
Some of the hmm?
Eli Roth?
Who?
Eli Roth?
Oh, Eli Roth. Yeah. I in the past I didn't like him. I don't know why, but I really was like, oh no, I've just seen his Cabin Fever, and
Yes.
I never liked it. I don't know why. And in my teenage times, and I saw it here. I watched it years later again, and I really liked it. It was total fun to watch. And in the meantime, he's one of my favorite, not filmmakers, but the person, the character. Eli Ross is such a
Yes.
charming and funny guy. And latest, finally, I read a story from him. He was, I guess, he was at home at David Lynch's house or on an exhibition or something, and he grabbed one of the original Laura Palmer pictures from David Lynch, and he has stolen it, and now it's in his movie collection room or something. And I was like, Eli Ross is the coolest.
Hey, it's fucking cool. I love Eli Roth. He gets a lot of shit as a filmmaker, but I mean, Hostel is one of my. Even though I don't like the torture, porn, horror films, Hostel is probably I think one of the most movies out there that when after you finish watching it, it stays with you. You know, it's one of the movies that
Yeah.
stay with you. You feel fucked up even days afterwards after watching that movie.
Yeah.
And it was something new. But what I like about Eli Roth is it's real life scenarios. It's
Yeah.
his movies. Any of us could fall into those scenarios where you're going backpacking through Eastern Europe and you get kidnapped. I mean, any of that shit can happen.
Yeah, I had the problem. I saw Hostel when I was at a very dark time in my life where I were, I guess most of us know that point. Everything has to be the hardest, the sickest, and the most gruesome stuff. And I
Mm-hmm.
was at the peak of this time. I only watched the real heavy shit. And I watched Hostel and I was like, oh my god, that was so boring. Everything was like, oh, it's so evil. And I was like, Ah, no, I've seen so much stuff before that's so much harder. Today, in the meantime, I like it, but at that point, I was just that stupid kid
Yeah.
who was always searching for the hardest
In
stuff.
Germany,
And
everything's hard.
yeah,
I mean, Germany. I mean, Americans. I love Terrifier 2. It's graphic, but that's something that Germans have been doing forever. One
mm,
level of gore and disturbing and gruesome is something that you guys have been doing for a long time.
yeah. I guess we started in the mid-end of 80s with Necromantic from Jörg Blutkreis, and yeah, then the whole stuff followed. Yeah, very very explicit stuff. I
Yes.
guess so. I guess so. But I think we have. I'm not the one who says stop doing gore movies. That's bullshit. I like them too. But I think if you're doing movies here, um, how do you say in English? In German, we have a phrase for it to look over the plates. How do you say? To have a more wider
A
view.
variety.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Someone who says, okay, I'm liking, think about, if I like fairy tales, just fucking do a fairy tale movie. It's okay. It's okay. Or even if it's a horror fairy tale, do you know the Snow White movie? The
Mhm.
evil horror one? That's a nice movie. It's a fairy tale horror. I mean, that's cool. Fantasy horror is stuff I really like. So many old horror movies were pretty fantasy like, with not the just the ex killer who is running through the woods and killing people. I mean, my if I have to say the genre in horror I most like, it's 80s slashers. I love 80s slashers,
Hmm.
especially the little ones that not everyone knows. My okay, in the meantime, now everyone knows it, but Sleepaway Camp is my favorite. Not only the Friday the 13th stuff. I mean, all these little Canadian slasher movies,
It's amazing.
they are
And
great.
and
But
and by the way,
not hmm?
we were in a discussion before the interview about Halloween 3. You're a Halloween 3 fan. I'm a Halloween 3 fan as well. That movie gets so much shit, and it's because Michael Myers wasn't in it.
Hmm?
Now I must admit, when I was younger, I didn't like Halloween 3, but as I got older, I'm like, this is different. This is something I kind of wish at some point they would have went with that a little more further and made Halloween movies for a period of time something different than Michael Myers every year.
I like the idea too. I didn't hate it or anything when I saw it for the first time or watched it for the first time. But I totally forgot it. It was like no Michael in it. Okay, I saw part
Yep.
1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and blah blah blah. And years later, I was like, damn, you have to see the third part again because there was no Michael in it. Okay, but I had in mind it was a pretty nice movie. And damn it, it's so underrated.
It is. I mean, it was something. I mean, John Carpenter was. Unfortunately, he checked out after that, after the Halloween series for until I think 2018. But yeah, I mean, John Carpenter has always been a. Is he my favorite? Wes Craven is my favorite, but John Carpenter, I would say, is probably second or third because I mean, just the thoughts that he had were something that he was putting stuff out there that people didn't see, and it was stuff that it not necessarily wasn't gory, but it was scary.
Yeah, yeah. I even prefer John Carpenter. I mean, Wes Craven was a master, and
Hmm.
I love his movies. Everything I've seen from him, and I guess I've seen almost everything, I guess. But John Carpenter was, yeah, it was the beginning for me. It was after the Goosebumps TV series as a child
Hmm.
and the books.
Yes.
maybe most people starting with these.
Yes.
After it
I read
were
those too. The R.L. Stein books.
oh, totally, I love them. I even have, I guess there's, I just have it in the background. You can see
Oh,
this.
nice.
It's a compilation, a short film compilation from
I used to get
stuff,
the
and
Goosebump books. I used to get the Goosebump books all the time. I would sit there and read them as a kid. Love them. I'm glad that they're still making them, and apparently there's a movie in the works. What
Yeah,
movie?
yeah. I read this a new series and stuff on Netflix or Amazon Prime.
Yeah,
Something.
I mean,
Yeah,
Goosebumps was definitely most kids' introduction to horror.
yeah, totally. Guess so. And many people who I spoke with, they were all, "Oh my God, Goosebumps!"
Mm-hmm.
And after that, after Goosebumps, it was Halloween 4, 5, and 6, were the first ones I ever watched in the middle of the night in the TV. I guess part 6 was the first one, and in the beginning there's this scene with the Dawn cult and the baby, and I was like, oh my God, that's scary as fuck. I don't know what this is, but I need to see it. And then I saw part 6, then 4 and 5 with Danielle Harris. I love them. And
I,
I'm still 4, 5, and 6 are my favorites. Even
I
I
thought,
know the first one is the best.
yes, I tell people all the time, like the first movie I ever saw in the movie theater or the cinema was Halloween. I mean, was Jason Goes to Hell. That was the first one I saw. My older sister, she got her driver's license. And at that point, I don't think I've ever been to a movie theater. My parents never took me, but I was like a preteen, and my older sister took me to see Halloween. Not Halloween. Jason Goes to Hell, and then she took us to see Halloween Part 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. So
Oh,
once again, shout out to my sister because I saw those two great movies. Those are two of the first great movies I see in an actual theater and got to experience
oh,
a horror
oh,
movie in theater. Those old horror movies in the theater.
oh
Listen,
my
watching
God.
TV does no justice compared to seeing it in a theater, especially as a
Oh,
kid. It feels like they're about to jump out the screen and get you.
oh man, that's so awesome. I only saw the current trilogy at the cinema, Halloween Kills and Ends, and I really love them. I have to confess, I even love Halloween Ends.
Yeah,
Anyone around me hated it a
I know.
lot. You
I've
you
seen
hate it
every
too?
I've seen every Halloween movie from Curse of Michael Myers on in the movie theaters. I mean, HBO. I'm a big
Damn.
now. Michael Myers is not my favorite horror movie character. He's that goes with Freddy, but Halloween, I would have to say, and I know Halloween '78 is my favorite horror movie. Halloween might be my favorite movie series,
Yeah.
but Halloween Ends kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. It that one and Resurrection, those two like left a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah. I get this with Resurrection. I had the same thing. It's still the one I don't. It's the only one I'm not really loving. I have to confess it. But what you said about the best series, a friend of mine, he's always the biggest Nightmare on Elm Street fan, and he had this. Stupid. I'm talking bullshit. He is always the biggest Friday the 13th fan. But he says the Nightmare series is the best movie series because you can watch it from one to the last part, and it's one story. Everything is logical. Halloween has the problem so many timelines, so many various characters, and it's pretty mind blowing if you don't know the part before you're sitting there what.
I
But
kind of, but going
what?
back to saying, I kind of wish they would kept it on part 4, part 5, part 6
Mm-hmm.
storyline.
Yeah.
Actually, because I wanted to see what the Coat of Thorn. I wanted to see where
Mm,
that was going.
yeah. Yeah.
But the,
Probably. I still have the this producer's cut of part 6 here. It was a long time only known as a bootleg. I don't know if it's official release right now. You know that producer's cut with more scenes from the Thorn cult? Have you
I know
ever
that
heard about?
I, kn- I know that there is a cut out there like it. I haven't seen it, but I know that there was a lot of production issues with that movie.
Mm-hmm. I
And
have it, but I still haven't seen it. It's in my DVD collection for years, and I'm still like, no. If I see that for the first time, I want to see it within all the other movies. So I
hmm
have to. I need a long weekend.
I can pick up any Halloween movie, even ends, and rewatch it today. I feel like,
Ah, okay.
but a lot of the Friday the 13th, they're kind of hard to rewatch. I mean, they were great back when they came out, but a lot of them are hard to rewatch.
Yeah. Oh, I
Yeah,
have to watch them again. It's years
yeah,
ago. I confess.
yeah.
It's
I
always
love
like.
Jason Lives, part six. Yeah,
Hmm,
I love that one. That's my favorite. That one and the remake are my two favorites.
no, I've never seen the remake. Really,
Oh, the
I never did.
remake.
I still have to watch it, but I've never seen it.
A lot of people get that one shit, but because they say, "Oh, Jason doesn't run" and blah 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 blah. But like, it's a new
Uh,
Jason, and it's a more terrifying Jason. The fact that Jason actually is smart and is able to put down traps and run and so forth, it just adds to
ah,
the intensity.
I heard about it that he has something like tunnels
Mm-hmm.
under the earth and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, I get it why people are like, oh no, that's bullshit and stuff. But I think it's a cool idea,
It
something
is.
new, and why not? I mean, okay, maybe we are not friends anymore after he's saying this, but what do you think about Rob Zombie's Halloween remakes?
Okay, so the first one, I like the first half. I love the first
Hmm?
half. Um, the second one, I loved it all the way through. So I think I love the Michael Myers. What's his name? Tyler Mane. I love him. He's a big, hulking, scary Michael Myers. Not my favorite, but he's definitely a menacing Michael Myers. Um, I just don't like a lot of and I've heard other people say this, and this is so true. I don't like the Rob Zombie. He adds a white trash. I don't know if you know what that means.
Yeah, yeah.
But he adds a white trash element to his movies,
Hmm, yeah. It's
and
always something like hillbilly stuff.
yeah, it's very hillbilly and come on, bitch, you know what I mean? It's just too much, and like
Yeah.
for me to watch
Hmm.
and to hear it for 2 hours, that hillbilly white trash lingo. So like the white trash dialect and the white trash storyline knocks me out, but everything else about the Rob Zombie movies, horror movies, I mean about the Halloween, I don't mind. I like them.
Cool. Cool. Yeah. I'm a huge part of the first part. I really love it, but the second part, I guess, it's one of my favorite movies.
It just fell off. Yes,
It's
you're talking about the first one. Yeah, the first half was great, and then it just boom.
mm, but the second part, it's so. Even if you don't like the story and stuff, and everyone hated the white horse that stands for anger and blah, but I was like, just look at this movie. Those pictures are so beautiful. I mean,
Mm.
everyone was like, oh no, not Cherry Moon Zombie again, and blah, blah, blah. But I was like, oh yeah, bring her back. She looks beautiful. That whole movie looks beautiful.
It's a
Michael
beautiful movie.
yeah, and Michael is such a natural force in this movie. He's so fucking creepy because he's just seeming like a 2 or 3 meters. I don't know what it's in feet over there. Like a very tall, like a giant
He's a
who's
giant, but also too,
fucking everyone up.
But what's cool about him, but that Michael Myers too, he's a real man. Like he's not some kind of supernatural creature. He's just a big, creepy, fucking
Yeah,
mountain man that comes from the fucking woods and kills you. Like it's more realistic.
yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah, but
But
I, I love. Listen, I don't. Mm, I liked. Yeah, I liked Zombie 2 movies better than I did the last two of the last trilogy. So if
ooh,
I would put those higher than I would Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends. Now I wouldn't put them over Halloween 2018. I love Halloween 2018. I
oh,
they should have just ended it there. That should have been it. Boom, boom, boom. But um, yeah, I like zombies. I mean, they were gory. They was like I said. The only thing I didn't like was that Rob Zombie white trash element that he likes to put
mhm.
all of
Yeah, I totally get this. If
yeah,
people say that's just too much and every second
smut.
word is fuck and fuck and fuck
It's just
and
a
yeah.
lot of every other word is fucking damn and bitch get over. I mean, every other word is just cursing. And it's like cursing is great, everything, but like but it's just too much. You know, it's just like, and I know that's how people talk in trailer parks and um Alabama or somewhere, but like I don't want to watch that in a fucking movie,
Mm,
a Halloween movie.
yeah, I really get this point. I love it. Besides that fact that there is this strong hillbilly language stuff, but I I think it's for me it's something some part of it is nostalgia, or I remember it seeing it for the first time when I was around I guess 16 years old or something. I fell instantly in love with Scout Taylor Compton. Uh, there was Daniel Harris again, and I
Yes.
really love him for doing this. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, if Halloween 2018, just imagine Daniel Harris would be there again. It would be so mind blowing, and I was like, bring her back. Fuck.
I agree.
so I'm always like this. It's the same when you're watching TV series that runs for a long time, that are running for a long time. When you see characters again after many seasons,
It's
it's
a
just like, oh my god, I'm coming home. It's like a family
exactly.
trip, and I love that feeling. So I think Rob Zombie has many plus points from me because he's just bringing back old feelings and old familiar faces. And I guess because everyone knows that he's a fan himself in the
Yeah.
first thing. He's just a huge movie fan who's like a little kid, like, oh my god, I'm doing movies right now. I'm damn, I love that stuff. And I really like it when directors aren't just, I want to make money, but they are just fans.
But it was amazing in the Rob Zombie um, Halloween's too. If you're a horror fan, if you're like a horror fan, you see what he did there with the characters. I mean, Ken Foree from the original Dawn of the Dead was in that.
That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Clint Howard was in that in those movies. You know, from ice cream. What ice cream movie it's called? But yeah, D
I know.
Wallace. D Wallace was in there, who's an
Yeah.
iconic Cujo.
Yeah.
But he tossed in a lot of iconic horror characters. Yeah,
Mm,
they don't even might have split scenes, but he was just giving a shout out to horror, in
yeah.
those movies. And like if you're a horror fan, you got this. You're like, wow, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty important. He's the one. If anyone on this planet will do a new movie in the year 2024 or whenever, he's the one. I totally think he's bringing back John Saxon or people like maybe he's dead. I'm not sure. Is John Saxon dead? Is he alive? Is he
Yeah.
dead?
Huh?
Is John Saxon dead? Or is he still alive? I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Oh my god, I love John Saxon, but I'm not sure if he's still alive.
I think a lot of people are dead or alive. They're not. I miss out on for some reason. I don't pay attention to when celebrities die. So like,
Yeah.
so when somebody tells me like here in the States, like Bob Barker, who's a Price is Right, died a couple like last month, and I was like, oh, I thought he already died like a couple years ago. I don't pay attention to celebrities dying.
Yeah.
I really don't.
But you get the point. I just wanted to say he's
Yes.
bringing back the old iconic horror people, or Tony Todd, or whoever, bringing
Mhm.
him back on screen, and everyone who loves the old stuff is like, oh my god, that's a class reunion of horror people,
Exactly.
expendables for horror stuff.
But
So
that's
to
why
say.
yeah, I normally don't say I don't. I like, I love the second one of the Rob Zombie movies.
Hmm?
But I like the first one. But as a series, if you take that white trash element out of it, I love it. I love
Hmm.
it.
Yeah, totally get it. Really
All right, so
awesome.
where can everyone find you on social media or websites?
Social media, Facebook with AE Filmkunst, um, White Lodge Movies. These are the two existing pages. White Lodge Movies is my older, how do you say, not company. We are not that big, but the first name we made movies under, and Instagram. I Filmkunst there too. YouTube, I guess. Tim Ravenstone or Tim Bartenstein. I Filmkunst there too. Uh, I think that's it. Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. I don't have Twitter. I will never do TikTok. Uh, yeah, I think that's it. No Snapchat.
Well, Tim, it's been a blast for you. Thanks for coming on, my friend. Everyone, please look out. It's coming out soon. Blutkreis. I'm probably saying that wrong, but it's gonna be in the title.
It's okay.
Capital two, capital two,
Yeah,
and everybody from Germany. I love you guys. Keep supporting me. You guys rock. Tim, if you ever want to come back on, man, I would love to have you back on, man. It was
thanks. It was a pleasure for me. Thank you for having me here.
You're
Pretty
welcome.
fun.
Hey, hey, I tried to make it fun, man. I tried to make it fun.
Great.
All right,
Cool.
everyone. Well, thank you for coming to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.